Dr. Vermani, what is perfectionism and where does it stem from?
Okay, so perfectionism is essentially the pursuit of, trying to be flawless. Many of us kind of get into these patterns where we have impossibly high standards for ourselves. And so perfectionism is your standard for yourself that is at the highest level, where we sometimes then get to a place where we reject anything that is not ideal for ourselves. And we start labeling those things that are less than ideal as flawed or imperfect or not good enough. And this tendency to strive for excellence, leads us to a place where we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and there's a lot of mind, body, and symptoms of anxiety, depression, not feeling good enough, low self-esteem that can come and arise from this, bombarded notion of being perfect in today's world and needing to be perfect in order to be worthy of love, worthy of success, worthy of being, good enough.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
today's social media world, we end up like being even fed into that more a little bit, because the more we have our own standard of perfectionism, sometimes when we're comparing our life to others, we keep raising the bar to having a different standard of what success, beauty, work ethics, perfectionism with, writing or skill set comes in. And we just keep raising the bar and never accepting ourselves to be authentic beings. Instead, need to have this high standard that I have to be the best at everything in order for me to be good enough.
Exactly. Now, you mentioned social media, right? So like that's obviously, a major component as to why people have, such high standards. But what are like the like other reasons that people fall into this mindset of like wanting to be flawless and having such high standards to the point where it can, really lead to burnout. It can lead to a lot of like mental issues as well, right? So like where does it stem from, like outside of social media? Like that mindset, like where does it come from?
So it starts as early as our childhood. Perfectionism begins early in childhood, where we adopt the behaviors and the perspectives of our role models. Think about 0 to 10, you're not born in that world, you're born in a household. The way mom and dad love each other is love. The way mom and dad fight is conflict resolution. Mom's a clean freak, cleaning's a value. Dad works a lot, work's a value. We develop ethics of what we think we need to do to succeed, to be good partners, to be good parents, to be good, colleagues or academics. And so initially it starts with mom and dad. And then as we're growing, we have other modeled behavior individuals in our lives, like grandparents or siblings or aunts and uncles, or, the school system you go to, the socioeconomic status, the first world, wherever you're born and what your environment, your peers, your media, your influences are around you, all of that shape your blueprint, as I call it. And so if we had perfectionistic parents or extended family members, teachers, coaches, maybe even your dance teacher that your parents put you on the weekend to, if you have people with these
Yeah.
standards, they're shaping you, they're modeling you, and
Hmm.
they're giving you this standard of no matter how good you do it, you can do it better. Right? My dad used to say this. He used to be like, math. My dad was a
Yeah,
mathematician.
yeah, yeah.
To say math is the only subject you can get 100% in. And for you to get less than 100, that's just not right, because that's the one subject you can get 100%. It's plain and simple, objective. One plus one is two. But every other subject you can have like room for error because of the person who's marking it.
Yeah.
So when you have that standard, then you're taught to yourself, I have to always get 100%. And so this is role modeling. And sometimes you always feel I'm not good enough unless I'm getting that A plus plus. And our role models don't mean
Hmm.
to hurt us or harm us, but they're trying to pass on strong work ethics or values that maybe they feel they missed or they had, and they're just repeating the cycle. And they're trying to facilitate, I want you to do the best for your life so that you have a successful life ahead. But they don't realize that pressure can also lead you to a path of a lot of anxiety, self doubt, not feeling good enough, and constantly overworking, because you can always be better. And that standard never is really at a bar that is enough. Just like money and other things, we sometimes, once we get there, we're like, oh, I can do a little bit more. You get to that academic, I can do a little bit more. And so from an early age, children, strive for high marks, being a better athletic, being good behavior, behaving well, getting, in your group to be liked by others, to be accepted by others. And then might, as you grow up, have demanding bosses, and you might have careers where you are
Mhm.
competing with other people in school. I was at U of T, and U of T felt like a competitive place where, I remember people hiding books at one point, and like I felt like, wow, we're lining each other up to kind of show each other that I'm better than you, or I'm smarter than you, or I was faster than you. And,
Yeah.
it makes us start getting into this competition with ourselves, but competition with others. Self discipline, ambition, high standards, they sound like good things that can motivate us and can enhance our performance and accomplishments. But when the going gets tough, if we don't balance self care, self love, healthy living, it can get us in trouble with anxiety, depression, self judgment, criticism, unhappiness, seeking validation from others, and never feeling good enough.
Got it. Yeah. So obviously, it seems like the whole main idea comes down to the people around you, right? And then that main foundation normally gets set by your family, like whether it's your parents or your siblings, your grandparents, like just like the family culture, for example, right?
A family has
Now,
a big part to it, but it's also the
yeah.
environment. Like I have some patients who tell me they grew up in a military background where their parents moved around a lot. But again,
Uh
if a
huh.
parent was in a military background, there was a rigid background of black and white thinking, of living with a schedule and a routine and a structure. Or if you had parents with OCD or something of their own perfectionism, as an academic out there, they may be instilling values in their kids to also live by a routine of structure, which is healthy to some degree, but under a lot of pressure can also be unhealthy. And so, it's not just the parents, it sometimes is the culture, the school system, the country you're in, as well as sometimes the gated community, like I said, with military people.
Got it. Okay, so would you say like the main thing that gets imposed on people that really strive to be as perfect as possible is like rules and really high standards, right? And just not having like any tolerance for anything that's, I guess, average or subpar.
Yeah.
Got
That's
it. Okay.
but it is,
Hmm.
it is about thoughts, and it's about also how we put pressure on ourselves to be. When you said, the concept of perfectionism for each person is individualistic. Everybody's
Yeah.
different, right?
Got it. Okay.